Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our live. Got a lot of great grants to share with you today, including this $25,000 grant from Amazon. So I'm really excited to get into this, to see so many of you already tuning in, and would love to hear how your week's going so far. We're going to cover grants as we do every Tuesday on this live. We also, besides this Amazon grant, we have a handful of other new grants in our weekly doc. If you want this take-home doc for all the links that I'm going to share with you today, it's the first link in the description so you can get access to this sheet. And it's great to see you guys. Liz, Rhonda, Jay, Genthia, and thanks for tuning in early. We've got a great webinar. It's just going to be me today going through some of these grants and answering your questions. So as always, drop in where you're watching from, city and state. Love hearing where you're watching from. And, especially share your business goals too. If you're looking for funding, looking for grants, have you had any successes? I think we've been doing these weekly grant YouTube lives probably for the past 2 months now. Every week, every Tuesday at this time, we are live to talk about the new grants that we found. We have a team dedicated to grants. So have you had any luck on those grants or other funding? Would love to hear. If you want this document right here, where is it? It's the link in the description. We've got the new Amazon grant, a grant from W.K. Kellogg, Dudley Doherty Foundation, and Roddenberry Catalyst, as well as some of these recurring grants, including our skip grants, our $1,000 skip grants. So that link is below. We're going to be adding to it. And one of the things I'll give a quick update on, there's big economic news today. There was a new report on the stock market today because the stock market's down because of the new consumer price index report. I'll pull up some of these charts here. So as always, great to see so many of you. You tune in every week, and really appreciate it. Before we get into this 25K grant, so 3 main things today we'll cover in the next half an hour. First, your questions. Good to see you, Alicia, Sasha, Carlos, Teddy. And so drop in where you're watching from, because we did this last week. Based on what you said in the comments, our team then went back and looked for specific grants. And as always, if you want help with specific grants, you can go to your Skip dashboard, or you can talk with one of us on the Skip team. Be sure you're following us on our socials too. We did a couple of reels on Instagram and TikTok this week, and we're posting more here too. So yeah, would love to see some of you there. And but yeah, we will always hunt down grants, and in the next YouTube live, we'll talk about helping you write your grant answers. So some of these grants aren't simple to apply for. This one today from Amazon is, so I'll cut right to the chase in a minute. But some of the grants we know require, a few paragraphs about your business. Why did you start your business? What your goals are, how you're giving back to the community. We can help you craft those answers. You can always go to helloskip.com and get started and book a time to talk with us. I'm going to cut back to the grant here in a minute. I want to give a quick update here on this. This is the big news today. It's worth seeing because this affects all of you. The consumer price report came out today, and it shows that interest rates are still very high. There was optimism yesterday that this report would show maybe the inflation's going down. So maybe the Fed is meeting next week to talk about raising interest rates, and at probably 0.75%, they'll raise it. And based on this data today, it looks like they will probably do that because it's still, 8%, still the highest it's been in decades. You've seen how it's changed here just since the beginning of this year. And it's affecting everyone. So as a result, this is what happened to the stock market so far today. You can see the dip. The CPI was released. Here's what happened to the S&P 500. Here's a quote from this article in the Times by Joe Renison. Stocks plummeted, U.S. government bond yields soared, and the dollar bounced on Tuesday after fresh inflation data undermined investors' bets that inflation would reduce. Basically, that the persistence of inflation and to the extent the Fed Reserve needs to raise interest rates when they meet next week. No doubt, based on this, they're going to raise rates, and that's why the stock market has reacted the way it has. Some more shout outs in the comments here to Texas. A lot of you in Texas today: Dallas, Lubbock, Harris County, some of you in Georgia, Atlanta, Covington, Columbus, and any grants for nonprofits. Kashi, yes, there are. One of the new grants today on this sheet is for nonprofits. We'll get to that. I know it's a lot of work to go through these, so that's why if you're tired of applying for them, Natasha, you made this comment here. If you're tired for applying at grants, we hear you. I appreciate you being here, and all of you. You can lean on us if you want to basically say, every month have Skip apply for me. That's an option. You just say, hey, I trust you guys will find grants or loans or other financing options for you. Shout out to Florida, Arkansas, Keith in New York. Good to see you again. Nebraska. I think we're representing a lot of the country here. And by the way, thanks for liking this video so others see this. I want to talk about this brand new grant from Amazon. I was going to do a YouTube video on it probably tomorrow or the next day. So you're getting a head start right now because you're on this live. I haven't shared this yet in a video or whatnot. So this is due September 30th. So you have about 3 weeks to apply. I'll quickly go through it. Small business grants for Amazon Business. Apply now for your chance to receive $25K for your small business. Create a free Amazon Business account to apply. 15 winners. Let me read the prizes here. A $25K grant for one grand prize winner, 1 year of Business Prime membership, whatever that is. And then some AWS credits and training. But, there's a lot of AWS credits out there. 4 finalists will get 20K grants. And 10 semifinalists will get 15K grants. So this is good, good odds, better than some programs where they only give out 1 grant. Now, let me talk about who's eligible. How do you apply? So click the Apply Now button. Click the Apply Now button. I'll show you in a minute. Applications are due end of this month. Who's eligible? Okay. Let me zoom in here, actually, so you can see existing Amazon business customers. Businesses must be self-owned by a U.S. resident with headquarters in the U.S. You must be over 18. Yes, you must have an annual revenue of less than $1 million and only 1 entry per Amazon business account. Completed application in full. You can check out the terms and conditions. Probably won't go into that today unless people want to go over the terms and conditions. I think you can do it on your own. How will you be selected? So Amazon has teamed up with Entrepreneur.com, who will select 15 semifinalists. Those 15 semifinalists will be featured on Amazon Business for business customers to vote for their favorite entrepreneur. So there's a voting component. I said this last week. Many of you applied for the 75K grant. You posted them on Instagram. So, by the way, a huge thank you to all of you who are brave enough. You did a 90-second video about your business. If you're curious about those are all on Instagram. You can check the hashtag The Great Unshackling Contest or hashtag Hello Skip, because a lot of you also tagged Hello Skip. So there's a voting component here as well. So if you are one of the 15 semifinalists, we can get the Skip community behind you, so you can get one of the either the grand prize, $25K, or the $20K as a finalist here. So, and all existing Amazon business customers can vote. Here's the total. Recipients will be announced October 25th. So not a huge lag period. Basically, applications due September 30th. 4 weeks later, winners will be chosen. And you'll get an email if you're a winner. So here's how to apply. Click here to apply. You'll have to create your free Amazon business account. This is probably the push Amazon's doing. They want more business owners. But, go ahead and go through this. If you have any questions as you go through it, we're here to help. You can ask us, leave it in the comments. And again, the link to that is in this sheet right at the top, Amazon Small Business Grant with the prizes. And this grant roundup, as we do every week, the link to this is right in the description. More shout outs to Florida, anything in Oklahoma. Jay, we'll check on Oklahoma. So many of you, we've got about 10 states represented so far. There's 3 more grants that are new that I want to mention right now. And then on the sheet, we also have our $1,000 grants. We're going to pick more winners in 2 weeks' time. And then some of these ongoing grants that we've highlighted. But let me keep going with the 3 new ones. And then before I answer some questions. So here's one from Jar Mom. I have a duplex and want to Airbnb aside. Anything for me, loan or grant, preferably grant. Would love to know what state you're in, Jar Mom. There are rules around the SBA 504 in terms of what, it has to be a place you occupy that you're living in. So be curious how you're thinking about that. Is it like your main unit and then you'll have an Airbnb as an extra unit? Anyway, happy to answer questions here, or you can chat with our team. Jill asks, any help on startup small restaurants for a small town? There are restaurant grants. There's the DoorDash grant. Let me see. It's on this sheet here at the bottom. So if you go down to the disaster relief fund, so you have to be a restaurant with 3 locations or less than 3 million in revenue. And this could be a 10K grant for you. So you can check that out. All right, Jar Mom, that's good to see. You live in the unit in Ohio. So 504 alone could be a good option. Airbnb did their grants contest, but they closed that grant contest about a month ago. So, but if Airbnb does more grants, we'll be on top of it. Back to the new grants. First, besides the Amazon one at the top of the sheet, is the W.K. Kellogg Foundation. This is an ongoing one. If you have a business or an organization, so for-profit or nonprofit, that works with children or families or equitable communities, this is worth taking a look at. I'll give a quick overview here. W.K. Kellogg Foundation. Here's what they want to know in your submission here. What problem are you trying to solve with this idea? What objectives or outcomes do you hope to achieve? Which, by the way, is a great exercise for all of you watching. What interventions or strategies are you considering? Who are your partners, if these are relevant? But let me talk about who they're trying to fund here. It's this paragraph. They're trying to, let me pull this up here. They're always looking to support innovative ideas and efforts that align with priorities to ensure all children, families, and communities, regardless of race or income, have opportunities to reach their full potential. So if you have a business related to that, would love to hear And here's they won't fund these types of businesses, like if you're trying to do a business renovation or a purchase of a new building, endowments, events, or individual assistance, they typically won't fund. But they will provide grants, and they've done it in all 50 states. So if you have a business related to children, families, communities, check that out, and happy to talk more about that. One more here for both for-profits and nonprofits, which is good and brand new. We just found it. Oh, that's great, Vada. Great to hear that you have the Texas Children's Museum. Would love to hear more about that. So that, that's WK Kellogg Foundation is great for that. Roddenberry Catalyst, they're doing grants between $2,500 and $15,000 to anyone, anywhere in the world. So there you go. If you're watching, let me zoom in. If you're watching in another country, you could also apply for this. You can have 25 years of experience or just be starting out. You can be working alone, with a team, as part of a nonprofit organization, a social enterprise, or a for-profit corporation. So basically eligible for most people. Here is the other fine print: over 18. Submit an application in English. Again, we can help you with that. Any proposal, go to helloskip.com. In fact, on that sheet, I think there's a discount code. If you're not a Skip member, you can use a discount code on the sheet in the description. You need to answer all the questions, agree to the fund terms and conditions, of course, and be able to legally receive grant funding. So take a look at that, and there's more details. Here we go. Apply now. Your basic information to put down, and I think there's a second step as well. Anyway, that's in the link. Any of you thinking about applying for that, the Roddenberry Foundation, $2,500 to $15,000. Anyone in the world with for-profit, nonprofit organization. And yes, thanks for asking. So all of these links that I'm talking about today, Kashi and everyone else, are in the description of the video here. This Google Doc has the 4 new grants I'm talking about today, and the past featured grants as well. So enjoy that, and thanks everyone for liking this video. YouTube shows it to more people, and for sharing where you're watching from as well. There's one more I'm going to talk about before I answer some of your questions. Is the Dudley T. Doherty Foundation. This is for a 501c3. So if you're a nonprofit, as someone asked, this is for you. Kashi, you asked that as well. A couple others for nonprofits. Let me just give the 411 here. There's a submit application form accepted from May of this year through October 31st. So up until Halloween, you can put together a 1-page online grant proposal. And let me zoom in here. And you need to attach your 501c3 status. And if you want to submit a proposal, click here. Okay, so they've made that nice and bold for you. Let's see where it takes us. You need to put in your organization information, your information, and your title of your grant cycle ID, amount you're requesting, how the grant will be used, where you're located. So here you go. You can see South Texas, Texas, U.S., international. So it looks like they're giving preference to anyone in Texas. So I assume the Texas Children's Museum, VADA, may be a 501c3 nonprofit. And then some answers here, what you're going to use it for, benefits, description. So you might be able to fill this out on your own. If you want us to help you with these answers, we can help you with that as well. And Vada, so yeah, it could be great. Vada, Kashi, all of you, this could be a great shot. And we just found out about this. So, and by the way, if you ever receive grants and funding and loans, or you want to report to the Skip hotline, you can email tips@helloskip.com. That's our tips hotline. And who knows, maybe we'll feature you if you share something that's worthwhile, or we could bring you on a future YouTube live. So the name, My Touch Ministries, the name of that grant is the Dudley Doherty Foundation Grant. And all of these are, again, first link in the description. Click the link and you'll get the new grants sheet. So there's also one other piece of news I talked about today, since I know most of you are, or let's say many of you are on the EIDL train. I did a video on EIDL repayments. If you're curious, you want to automatically set up EIDL repayments. Again, payments are starting to be due starting in October. 35,000 people will have to start repaying in October. Then between November and December, nearly 2 million people will have to start making EIDL repayments. The SBA, I talked with the SBA last week. They said they are going to automate. Sorry, now automate's the wrong word. They're going to try to improve their system, because right now you have to go to two systems, pay.gov and the SBA system to look up. You need to look up your balance on the SBA system first. Then you need to go here to make a payment. Then you should keep track of that so you know how you're making payments. So I did an overview of that today, or you can go to eidlpay.com. That'll take you to our blog post where I outline the 3 steps to repayment, because I know many of you don't want to think about repaying loan, or you're still bitter because you didn't get the loan or you didn't get the increase. And I hear you. You're not alone. Tens of thousands of folks have told us that they didn't get the increase they wanted. So that's up today on the Skip blog. And Seeking Truth asks this: I live in Atlanta. What grants do you have for special needs, young adults, post-high school, 21 years and older? Also Charity Foundation for Special Needs. Great question. Off the top of my head, nothing's ringing a bell. Maybe we have some old ones on this sheet, but please email us. We'd love to look into that. There's probably the grants would go through an organization. I'd love to know if you're working with an organization that helps special needs young adults, or is this a specific case for you? If an organization, then yes, there's definitely grants at foundations that you could apply for, and we could help you with that. Hi, Susan and Samuel from Baltimore and Houston. Thanks for saying hello. So if you just tuned in, I started with the big news today, which is the CPI and the stock market news. There's one other tool I wanted to show you here. Let me pull it up. Yeah, this is a cool interactive tool. If you're curious how inflation is affecting you from the things you buy every day, this link is at the top of the sheet here, the Wall Street Journal tool, how inflation has affected you. So if you want to play around with this and see, what you're paying for cereal or bread, whether it's meat, other food at home, put this in, because this is really telling. When you talk about this, the consumer price index, a lot of it's abstract until you actually get into details here about how it's affecting you. And you can see, some of these details. Gasoline, we know, has gone up substantially, 26% inflation. Beef and veal, 3%. Bread, 16%. Breakfast cereal, 16%. So those are just the few that I selected. So play around with that, because I think that makes it more real. Just all of the things you're paying for on a daily basis, how costs have gone up. Because another headline today was that U.S. That U.S. wages have not gone up. That's one of these tabs here, but U.S. wages have not gone up substantially over the past year. So you're still paying more. You know, a lot of you, right? You're thinking about maybe drawing money from your bank account. Maybe you stockpiled a little money during the pandemic, and now you're having to pay more from your savings to pay for higher priced goods. So would love to hear about that. So that's the grants roundup today. You know, nice and brief, but again, the biggest one that I encourage all of you to apply for today is the Amazon one here. Let me go back to the screen. You know, you're getting a head start if you apply today. Applications are due in a few weeks. And don't forget, when you apply, please add them to your Skip dashboard, because we'll send you reminders. You know, hey, did you finish your application for the Amazon grant or this other 10K grant, the Verizon grant foundation? So we can help you stay honest and stay accountable. That's why we've built our software to help you track grants and funding. Yeah, would love to hear. All of the links are on the sheet here. And, you know, as always, when more come in, we're going to update this. So be sure you're tuned in, and I assume many of you are subscribed here, because we're going to do a more in-depth grant video later this week, some tips on the Amazon grant and any other news. But yeah, great to see so many of you tuned in. As always, drop your questions here. You know, even if you don't join us for the live right now, would love to hear, are you going to apply for the Amazon grant? Any questions about it? It's for everyone in the U.S. Are you going to apply for the Kellogg Foundation grant? How about the Dudley Doherty Foundation for nonprofits, if you're a nonprofit? And then finally, the big one, the second most important one today, the Roddenberry Catalyst grant. And so keep those in mind. But thanks so much for tuning in today on the quick 30-minute webinar today. We've got more guests coming next week on our live, including not only from our team, but outside as well. So I can't wait to see you all then. Thanks everyone for the good vibes, and have a great rest of your week. And I'll see you very soon.